So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Ben Habib writing another attack article on Boris Johnson, saying Boris is still cowering to the EU over the biggest Brexit issue. Yes, I had to add a word in there for his sentence to make sense, and this is hilarious. So it was his failure to act that prompted me, together with other leading unionists, to in Northern Ireland to initiate legal action against his government's Northern Ireland Protocol, even though Ben Habib voted for the Northern Ireland Protocol as an MEP, or at least a withdrawal agreement, as far as I remember. So he voted for this. That's unfortunate, Ben, mate. Every step of the way, the courts have agreed with us. It's not true. They agreed the Act of Union, the very act that created the United Kingdom, has been subjugated by the protocol, which is true. It's been changed, It's been not repealed, but in a sense it has been, It's been overruled by a new Act of Parliament. That's how Acts of Parliament works. One act can repeal or subjugate another one. And they agreed the Good Friday Agreement, which the protocol falsely claims to protect. I mean, it does, because it stops a hard border going in the island of Ireland. That's what the Northern Ireland Protocol does. Has been ignored in order to forcibly hand over Northern Ireland to the EU, which again isn't true. I don't think the EU has any real interest in Northern Ireland in terms of taking it over for what? Northern Ireland's not an economic powerhouse, honestly. He says, but we are now taking this action to the Supreme Court, which is something I'm going to talk about in another video. Because even though the lower courts agreed with us, they didn't. Because if they did, they would have struck down the protocol. They decided all these acts of monumental constitutional self-harm had been legally administered by the House of Commons. Therefore, the courts can't do anything anyways. He says, can you imagine any government being legally entitled to trample over our constitution and the rights of our citizens? I cannot. I mean, constitutions can be amended. Even the American Constitution's been amended. So again, another dumb point. Constitutions aren't permanent. Like, come on, man. Like, do you know nothing about anything? Is in truth, even the lower courts have their doubts about the legality of the union busting protocol. I don't think they do, mate, to be honest, because if they did, they could have tried to strike down the protocol and then it would have went to a higher court potentially, but you would have some sort of small win here, but you don't. He goes, his latest being the drafting of new domestic legislation to empower the government to break the withdrawal agreement and hence the protocol. He does not have the courage to even suspend the protocol, let alone throw it under a bus. This is something we spoke about before, with the government making certain amendments in order to try and reform the protocol, which is where it belongs. He has forsaken Northern Ireland. So have you, mate, by extension. The Prime Minister's rhetoric is designed to appeal to Brexiteers while he smooths over Partygate, which is true. Ben Habib is right here that Boris Johnson is talking tough purely because of Partygate, because he's struggling. He goes, it's a bit like his Rwanda deportation centre, which will equally be dead on arrival. So, certain people are seeing through these policies, like Ben Habib, because it's red meat to the base because he's struggling. He goes, I say this to the Prime Minister, we do not believe you. We have heard far too much about your commitment to the union of the United Kingdom without your lifting a single finger to protect it, which I suppose you can argue is true, but no one should have. The Northern Ireland Protocol should never have been come up with in the first place. It's a product of Brexit, which Ben Habib will never acknowledge. He goes, you have misled Parliament over the Irish Sea border, which is true, he did lie about it. He said there would be no checks in the Irish Sea, but there are. He goes, you are willfully presiding over the breakup of our country, which is true, but Scotland will go as well. There'll probably be a border poll in Northern Ireland, and we'll see what happens with that. If it does happen, I'll cover it. He goes, the Tory party is grappling hard with its conscience over Partygate. It need not bother. If it is looking for a reason to eject this Prime Minister, it has had one for over 2 years, the surrender of Northern Ireland. Well, it's ironic you're saying the Tories should get rid of the Prime Minister over the Northern Ireland Protocol when it's the Tory party that voted for the withdrawal agreement, which, the Northern Ireland Protocol was a part of. So evidently the whole Tory party have to go then, all of them. He says, when I embarked on this legal action, which I'm still questioning who's paying for this, I said we were putting ourselves in the hands of the British courts, which I hoped would be just, and they have been for the most part. He says, I continue to travel in the hope that we are destined for the highest court in our land, blah, 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 blah. This guy's got absolutely nothing. I wonder who's actually funding his legal programs and all of this travelling. But the simple fact is, you all voted for this. You can't be mad if this is what you voted for, and you knew you voted for it, which then we'll talk about in a separate video. But this was the result of what you voted for. Why are you mad, bro? Is it because you didn't get what you wanted, mate? Is it? Or you just want to saber out of the EU because you're bored and you got nothing better to do. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.